Is it possible to be happy without getting everything that you want? Is it possible to be happy without getting anything that you want? Is happiness dependent on circumstances? I feel like on a baseline level, circumstances do play a part in happiness, at least for most of us. I think for most of us, if we don't have our basic needs met, then happiness is going to be a big obstacle because you don't have your basic needs met, then that's where the bulk of your awareness is going to go. That's where the bulk of your focus, your time, and your energy is going to go in trying to make sure that those needs are met. But once those basic needs are met, I really don't think much else is required for happiness. And I think what keeps a lot of us unhappy for much longer than we need to be is never knowing when we have enough, not realizing that our basic needs are met, not realizing that anything else that comes is just surplus and not necessarily something that's closing a gap or filling a deficit. I think a lot of us put these goals in our head and we attach happiness to those goals. And if for whatever reason we don't achieve those goals, then we deny ourselves happiness. And I think that's what the mistake is. Because while it's fun to have goals, while it's fun to aspire to go new places, meet new people, see new things, make more money, those things can often chase happiness away because they often put your awareness, your focus in the future. They often make you live in a place that isn't quite real, which again is the future. And the thing about happiness is that it cannot be experienced in the future. It can't be experienced in the past. It can only be experienced in the present. And so if we spend too much time in either the future or the past, then we can't help but deny ourselves happiness. I would define happiness as the absence of desire. I would describe happiness as contentment with how things are, not needing things to change. And I feel like that's a very fine line to walk where you have hope and you have a desire to see things grow and to see things evolve, but at the same time, you're detached from that evolution. You're detached from outcomes being exactly what you want them to be. And I think the reason why happiness eludes a lot of us is that we can't detach from outcomes. Because if something doesn't happen the exact way that we want, then it's totally unacceptable. Losing my mother at such a young age played such an integral part. Losing my mother at such a young age played such a critical part to my own happiness in such a bizarre way because it really showed me, taught me, forced me to look at the fact that I won't always get my way. And not when it just comes to little things, not when it comes to, material things or the house or the girl or whatever. But I can't even control how long my mother lives. I can't even control, her health or wanting to encourage her with her health. Like, no matter how badly I wanted her to live a certain way, if she didn't want to do that, then she wasn't going to do that. And in a roundabout way, losing her kind of shocked me into the realization that I won't always have my way. Things won't always go my way. And at first, this was really, really, really hard to face. It was extremely hard to face because it made me feel powerless. It made me feel helpless. It made me feel like I had no control over my life or I had no control over the things that happened around me. It made me feel like the ultimate victim and that life was happening to me as if I was being punished for something. And for a while there, like, it was hard to have the will to go on because it was like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of all this if we're just here to suffer and then die? What's the point of all this if I can't actually make my dreams come true? And cannot really make my dreams come true. That's what everybody says. Follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow your dreams. But I used to dream of having kids that my mother could be a grandmother to. I used to dream of that, her, you know, taking care of my kids, her dancing with her at my wedding, or being able to buy her a house and move her out the hood, or so many things, like so many things that I wanted. So many things that were in my blueprint for happiness involved my mom. So it was like in losing her, it seemed like the path to happiness or the possibility for happiness was also lost as well. And I can't really say, in all honesty, like what exactly flipped the switch for me. It wasn't something that happened in a moment. It's something that happened over years. It's something that happened after a lot of time in meditation, a lot of time contemplating what it is that I'm actually doing here and who am I really and what is life? Like really, really deep existential questions, pondering those every day. And at some point I realized that I was happier as a kid than I am as an adult, or that I was as an adult. Like, how could that be? Because as an adult, I have so much more freedom. I have so much more time. I have so much more money. I have so much more access to fun things, right? And what I realized is that a part of what made me happy as a child was how simple my life was. A part of what made me happy as a child was the fact that I didn't have control over everything. And I think the largest part of what made me happy as a child is I hadn't learned yet why I shouldn't be happy, as most of us who are in adulthood have. I hadn't learned that I shouldn't be happy if I'm not successful, or that I shouldn't be happy if I don't have enough money, or that I shouldn't be happy if I can't find a partner, or I shouldn't be happy if my business doesn't work, or I shouldn't be happy if my bills are late. I hadn't learned any of that. And so life was not so much a duty or a task or something I had to conquer. It was instead something that I could just experience, and something I experienced with excitement for the most part, curiosity, wonder, things that we tend to let go of the older we get because we become so focused on doing the thing, getting the thing, becoming the person. And we forget that life is an adventure and that none of us really know as much about what's going on as we like to pretend. Now, perhaps what makes us so upset, perhaps what makes us so depressed and anxious is these ideas that we cling to, all these ideas we have in our head about how things should be. And perhaps the way to happiness is to surrender these ideas, to investigate these ideas, to really question them and see if they have any validity, to see if they match up with reality or if they're just things that we want to believe. To see if what we've been taught is what we actually feel is true, or if we've just conformed in order to feel comfortable. That's something about being a kid too. Comfort wasn't a major concern as a kid. You go outside and play in the dirt, your grass stains all over your jeans, get your hands dirty. It didn't matter. It was just fun to play. I really think the reason why a lot of us struggle with happiness these days is because we take everything seriously. We take life so seriously. We don't play anymore. Life's not a game, right? Maybe it is. Maybe it is a game. Maybe that's why we love sports so much. Maybe that's why I love video games so much. Maybe it's because it reminds us of the playful nature that life's supposed to be. Maybe it's our minds and the fear that we've been programmed with that makes us think that life is a serious matter that we have to get right. But I don't really think that it is. I don't think that life is serious. I don't think that we have to get it right, at least not the first time around. And I really feel like if you can't get it right this time, you'll get another opportunity. The best thing that we can do with the life that we currently have is try to make the most out of it. Try to make the most out of it. For me, that means exploring myself to the fullest extent, trying to really understand who I am. Who is Michael? What is this incarnation all about? What am I here to do? Who am I here to help? Who is here to help me? Why was I gifted this unique set of circumstances? If my life does have a purpose, or if I want my life to have a purpose, what do I want that purpose to be? We don't realize it, but having too much can be just as stressful as having too little. I think we're all conditioned to strive and strive and strive for more and more and more as if that'll bring us happiness. But I can tell you from personal experience, from eating too much on many Thanksgiving days, that had I stopped when I had just enough food, I would have been much happier. But I had to eat more. I had to get another plate. My senses wanted it so bad. I wanted to taste it so bad that I would eat more and more and more than I knew that I needed. And it would always make me sick. If you ask me why there's so many wealthy people, well-off people who are miserable, who are depressed, who are suicidal, it's because they have too much. Because they don't realize that having too much is just as bad as having too little. It's hard for some people to hear that. The greedy part of their brain resists that with everything that they have because they just want more and more and more. It's never enough. And that's why we're unhappy, because it's never enough. Contentment means enough. Contentment means I have everything that I need. Fulfillment means that I have everything that I need. Not more than what I need, but I have everything that I need. And I think if more of us would just realize that we already have everything that we need, a lot of us would find that happiness is already here. And in fact, happiness is not this thing out there, this external thing that we have to go and find every day, that we have to go to work for. But instead, happiness is always in you, it's always in me, and that it reveals itself when we stop chasing after it, or rather, when we stop chasing it away, or rather, when we stop distracting ourselves with things outside of it. I've seen a lot of happy babies, I'm sure. I would like for you to ponder, why are babies happy? Babies have no reason to be happy. They don't have loving partnerships. They aren't married. They don't have kids. They don't have 401ks or millions of dollars. They don't have successful businesses or big houses or nice cars. They don't have any of that shit. But they're happy. How is that? If happiness is dependent on having things, then why is it that babies are happy and they don't have anything? They don't even know anything. Perhaps there is some correlation between happiness and not knowing. Perhaps if we could employ more of a beginner's mind in our approach to life, we'd find that much less things make us unhappy. Till next time.